Hi guys, I'm out here at International 2014 playoffs. I'm joined here by PPD from Evil Geniuses. How's your international going so far? It's been a pretty interesting 3 days.
Well, the format makes it kind of an up and down experience for almost every team here. A lot of good teams are losing to people that you considered not as good, and so it's a little disappointing. And the format is very unforgiving. So, for me personally, we had a really rough day one. I mean, it wasn't rough. We just lost to teams that we don't think we should have lost to. So we were obviously disappointed. We still went 3-2, but we came back, so we're happy. It's good so far.
I was going to actually ask you about the format because I know you tend to have very strong opinions on all the tournaments here, which is, that's what you have to do. You want the best for the players at the end of the day. How would you, obviously 16 teams, there's a lot of teams, what kind of situation would you like to see? Would you like to see best of twos group stage stuff again, or is best of ones? Or
Well, it's really tough to do, and it's always, obviously it's really tough to please everyone. I kind of liked how they did the two groups last year with the best of twos. I think that, you play both sides of the map. One team's Radiant one time, the other team's Dire. I mean, for example, if, day one and day two, we went 0-3 on Radiant, 6-0 on Dire. I mean, and that's because, not all teams are choosing Dire, but for us personally, we just, when we have selection priority, we just take Dire, and it really just works with our play style, and it gives us a larger opportunity to win.
yeah, I've seen you guys in the past actually choose to forfeit a coin toss. Is that just to secure Dire, or what's the story about that?
Well, that's usually in a larger series, like a best of 3 or a best of 5. And generally when I play against a team, I like to plan out the drafts. So, maybe one game I want to have second pick, or if I'm on Radiant, I want second pick. But usually Radiant gets first pick because that's what people want. And sometimes I like that. It just depends on the team and their play style and the heroes they play. And by deferring like I did in the past, it allows me to have control of the situation. So it doesn't look like, excuse me, probably lose my voice, but it just lets me have control of the situation so I don't get caught off guard and I can be secure about my draft.
So, who do you think are the biggest gainers with the best of ones and the biggest people who lose out?
Oh, I mean, I don't think there's any teams that value more than the others in the best of one. I still think the majority of the best teams are going to do well because they're going to win more games than they would probably lose. But the only thing I dislike is I think some of the better teams are going to get the short end of the stick, and they're going to lose games, rather than winning in that best of one situation. And this with the format of this tournament, it might just mean them not getting to Key Arena.
Yeah. Now you have one of the shorter careers in Dota 2. Is it kind of how's it going from being a pro player and everything like that, then to go join EG, a big organization, and then to come to a $10.5 million tournament? Like, I can imagine you never thought any of this would happen.
Well, watching TI1, TI2, TI3, they're all just motivation for me to eventually make the switch over to this game. And, they obviously, there's a little bit of incentive for me to switch over. And I'm actually, I don't know if you've ever heard this quote before, but it's something I usually say. Like, when I started playing Dota, I started playing right before TI3, and I was hoping that I would make it to TI5. And here I am at TI4, like in second place or something ridiculous right now. So, just really grateful. And to answer, to go back to your actual question about the switching to Dota and getting along in the TIs. One thing is it was kind of rough when I started because I didn't know any of the other teams and other players. So when I came to LANs, it was always just me and my team, and then my teammates knew other people, so they hang out with them. But now that I've been around for a little bit longer, I'm getting to know other teams and players. So LANs are just a more fun experience. Because you kind of form friendships with other teams, even if they're actually your enemies.
That's good to hear. Where are you guys expecting to land in the group stage right now?
Oh, well.
What are you aiming for? Is it you just want top 10, or are you looking for those top 3 slots or what?
I mean, we're looking for the top 2, so we don't have to play the best of 3 and to get to the winner bracket for Key Arena. And we're in a really good spot right now. We've played a lot of the tougher matches, I think. We still have DK, Alliance, Empire, and Navi US. That being said, all those teams are doing really well, and they're right on the brink of getting. I think DK is safe, but the rest of them are on the brink of getting eliminated. So they're gonna really, really want it, and they're gonna go all out with their strategies or pocket drafts or whatever they have.
Is it hard to not put yourself in a position where you get too comfy? Obviously now you're around second in the group. Do you guys always really nervous and scared that it can go wrong at any second, or are you pretty confident right now?
Well, I think with where we're at now, we had a good start to this morning. We went 2-0 against Vici and Mouse. I think we're safe. I don't think we can get eliminated now. Even if maybe if we lost the rest of our games, we might be like, but we're still like 8 and 7. I think that's good enough to at least make it to the losers bracket.
Yeah.
So that's a little reassuring. You still get to the top 8, which is like 500K or something ridiculous.
Yeah. Speaking of 500K, the prize pool split has changed this year. Were you glad to see it change? And are you happy with the result, or would you do more tweaking, or what?
I mean, you can't complain about the money that's getting thrown around to little kids who play video games. But I do like the format. I like the prize pool split a little bit better. I mean, 500K for 8th place is a little high, I think. But, I mean, first place is 5 million, so that's way. I mean, honestly, it's way too much. And it's amazing that all the Dota, like the community, put so much money into it. But there's no way any of these players deserve that kind of money.
That's brutally honest. Yeah. I mean, do you see any players just retiring after winning $1 million, minus tax, minus team cut, and all that stuff?
I mean, the teams that do really well are not going to disband. The teams that might disband are the teams that, or the players that might retire, are the players that do decently well, but they had a really rough time at it. This tournament is already, you can tell how draining it is on the players. It's incredibly stressful, unforgiving, especially this best of 1 format, and sometimes you just, I'm sure some players out there are contemplating, like, is this really worth it?
Do you think it's a good thing that the scene kind of explodes after an international and mass shuffles happen, or is that good for the scene, or would you rather see more stable teams stick together, or?
Well, I mean, of course it's good for the scene if more teams stay together, but it's very unrealistic. A lot of teams have internal issues, and the more stressful your environment, the more internal issues you have, and people will kind of, bark at each other. So maybe not the best thing, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's good to have some change in the scene, and the good teams will stay together if they, they really believe that they're a good team.
And then focus on EG. How do you guys kind of deal with, like, it seems that you guys deal with a win and a loss pretty equally. Like, you don't get over too crazy excited, and when you lose, it's not the end of the world. You seem pretty, I don't know, pretty neutral on that, or is it different behind those?
Well, we don't show a lot of them, like, I don't know, it's kind of tough because all of these tournaments before TI were just warm-up. They were practice. Like, we won the Summit. Of course we're happy. We're honestly a little surprised we were able to beat DK at that point. But, we lost at Dream League, and, people were kind of sad, but you still got 20K for 6, so what the hell. And then ESL, we lost IG in the finals. A little disappointing with the 22-0, but there hasn't been any, like, extreme emotional situations, I think, for our team yet. And TI is, it's the peak of the Dota community, or the Dota platform, I guess. And, maybe if we win TI, we might crack a smile or something. But if we lose, it's definitely not happy times. We're dysfunctional, we'll argue, but I think a little bit of conflict is always good for teams.
And how does fear play into all this? Like, especially with, like, the arguments and the analyzing and the drafting, like, where does he come into all this?
Well, he tries to calm some people down, but unfortunately we have some strong personalities. And
does Fear shout? I don't think I've ever seen Fear shout or get angry.
Oh, no, Fear does absolutely not get that.
He's very calm.
But he will get, he'll yell and get mad at people if they're being incredibly arrogant or unreasonable.
And obviously you have some young players on your team. Do you feel they sometimes get ahead of themselves, maybe a bit too much, or?
Well, Zai is very level-headed.
Yeah.
Very mature.
Well, Artur.
Artur is a whole nother monster. He generally he's very confident. He's very a bit arrogant at times, which isn't always a bad thing. But he does get upset if occasionally I'll question what he's doing or his item builds or something like that. Like we just kind of got into a little, even after we won, like we were bitching at each other because he didn't want to go BKB after his Desolator or whatever.
So looking ahead, main event, and obviously a lot of money on the line. You guys, aiming for first place, of course. But where would you be happy with if you couldn't get first place?
Well, if we couldn't get first place, I'm sure everyone would be happy with. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, all the placings have such good money, and I don't think there's that much of a difference between like 8th and like 5th or 6th or I'm sorry, like 4th. Maybe like top 3 is where like there's like a big jump.
Okay, before I let you go, obviously you got a lot of fans and sponsors you want to give a shout out to. So,
shout out to our sponsors: Monster Razor, Kingston HyperX, BenQ, Cyberbar PC, and Sony Online Entertainment.
Thank you, PPD. Best luck for the rest of the tournament, and stick with us. Plenty of coverage here from On Gamers.